What?
I said, in the old days, we were talking about when Jerry would figure everything on, to sit back there on the back row, heck of a boy.
What do you really?
Oh, yeah. He's given, I don't know if anybody was on the board then when he was here, but he was something else.
Hans, yeah.
Who did that, Roger?
Hans Conrad.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he laughed at that. Those Dick Phelps was the best, that stall tactics that I've ever seen. I'll put it that way, stall tactics. What it was. He was always doing a capital master plan. I was around there watching that for about 3 or 4 years. He just kept working on it. I don't think he would have worked on it. He said he would work on it.
Who's that?
Dick Phelps. He used to be. That's him and Tom's fault all the time.
Probably did.
Oh, now I don't know how to again. Actually, I heard it go off.
Yeah, I heard it ding. She's there.
Yeah, he did.
There we go.
Yeah, you got Merle Wausau, Don High. Now, Barney used to be on too.
You there, Ashley?
Hello, I'm here.
Hey,
Hello.
great.
Oh, she's on video now.
Video.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, until my 4-year-old sees herself, and then it's over.
All right. It's 4:30. Call a meeting to order. We are short a couple of board members today for reasons they couldn't make it with us. So let's have the approval of the minutes of the March 19th, 2026 meeting.
So move. Second.
Steve approved. Bill, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So the financial statements are in the new system and unavailable right now. So Glenda's working on that. And we have some visitors in the audience, and Mark or whomever,
We've asked Roger to help us.
if you want to address the board,
Yes.
time to do that now. That's fine. Come on up, Roger Coburn.
Yeah, I'm Roger Calvert, and I'm here. Tyler has been working on a project for him to develop a site located north of Cypress Creek, be west of Kentucky 95 and east of Alabama Street. It goes about where the Jackson Purchase power line goes across at, we got a floodplain fill permit here about 1.5 years ago to fill the floodplain up to elevation, I think 2 feet above the base flood elevation there on site. And he has a industrial prospect that's interested in locating on that site right now. And of interest is water and sewer service. The nearest water main and point of connection to the sewer system is across Cypress Creek over on Alabama Street right now. There is water main crossing in front of George Booth down on the other end, but no sewer in that vicinity. So we're here to request, we obviously would like to connect to the water and sewer system if we could, without being there. And I think what the developer would like to propose is to run their service line underneath Cypress Creek, be a directional drill or open cut or whatever. Depending if it's real dry, we probably could open cut it, but that's what they would like to propose to do, and then have a water meter set on that side of the road over there, somewhere close to the water main that crosses through the fire training center. I believe, Bobby, the water main comes in that entrance that's closest to the,
It comes in on C.
yeah. So,
That's where the sewer tie-in would be as well.
yeah. So typically, so the question is would the board be agreeable to allowing them set a meter close to the water main and run a private line down there and cross the Cypress Creek and pick up their property there with water service? And what they would propose, what they're needing is about a 1-inch meter, probably would run a 2-inch service line to that. And the other part of that on the sewer, as you guys are probably aware, along 282, there's a low pressure sewer force main that comes out of the lift station that Donnie Travis put in the subdivision in behind his office. I can't remember the name of the subdivision.
Cypress Creek.
Yeah, Cypress Creek subdivision. And so it connects up with another low pressure main. We would propose to put a low pressure force main underneath the river and connect it to the gravity sewer out in front of the fire training center at Alabama Street. Is what we would propose to do. For their purposes, they could use a 2-inch force main, that would be fine, but there may be some interest in later on extending that force main on down. I know that George Booth doesn't have any sanitary sewer. I'm not sure Riley's or any of those folks in that area don't have it. Estron Chemical doesn't have it. So I know that has been of interest in the past to separate the domestic waste from any industrial waste and bring it into the sewer system. So that might be something that we could look at. This industrial prospect is looking at the property is a national company. We really not at liberty to discuss that, but they would bring about 6 to 8 jobs here, and their activity would complement what's going on in the industrial complex. So,
Did you say the floodplain permit, the dirt has been filled in?
yeah, we have the floodplain permit.
Okay.
So the next step with that would be we would have to file for a letter of map amendment with FEMA, work through the local floodplain coordinator, which is John, to get everything approved to build a building there if we can get to that point. So I feel like we can do that. We had completed some preliminary work in that respect before we ever started to fill the floodplain there.
Good.
I know Mark had talked to me, Roger, a little bit about it and said something about a 8-inch line underneath the creek that maybe you could use to slide the.
There is an existing 8-inch sanitary sewer force main that went to the river outfall that's been abandoned underneath the creek. It got replaced several years ago. And it's been located. We know where it is. That would aid us in being able to get across the creek. As far as that's concerned, that's the biggest challenge there. You either directional drill it or you might be able to do that. When that force main was put in, it was actually installed open cut in the middle of the summer. I was involved in that project years ago, and they just dammed off Cypress Creek and bypassed the pump over the dam and kept the trench dry enough to put the force main. So it's about 5 foot below the bottom of Cypress Creek down to there.
So that's been found.
Yeah.
And that would be the preferred method of tying in?
It would be. I mean, you can, it is an 8-inch force main.
Okay.
So you probably could, I'm thinking if you were to put a low pressure force main and with the purpose of ultimately extending it on up the road at a 4 probably would do, 4-inch would probably do what we need to do. 6-inch certainly would do. You've got to get your velocities and keep them up high enough to keep that scoured out. They won't see a 2.5 foot per second minimum velocity, when that pump's running. So you'd have to take a look at the design of it. Did Arkema tie their domestic into the city system that ever happened?
They
Never
talked
did.
about it, and we were looking at a route that went along Industrial Parkway,
Right.
went out to Sharkow area. I don't remember the exact. They did not get that done.
No.
They were interested. Arkham is probably somewhat unique in that they do have their
They got a
domestic.
package plant. out
Well, they've
front.
got the sewer and industrial sewer separated.
Right, yeah.
They don't run it. They run it. They have a license and they run their own waste treatment plant just for sanitary, and that's unique. I think I don't know of anyone else that does that.
Yeah, Ashland, they combine theirs, don't they, to their new treatment plant, that sanitary, the domestic and
Yeah, the
industrial combined.
domestic in there, they've got a lot of legacy stuff.
Yeah.
And they are permitted. And this, listen, I don't work for Ashland. I don't know how they've still got it, but back in the day, they processed it and were permitted through their waste treatment, and that's my last understanding of it. Probably 10 years ago. I don't know.
I believe that the Ebonic complex is
But,
the same.
I will speak for Estron. We would be interested in that. We've got ours separated. I mean, we've got septic system. We do not have waste treatment. So Estron would be interested. Of course, you got George Booth, you got a Riley tractor there,
Yeah,
and then you got your place. And I don't know how the engineering would be, or where that would be, whether you had two force mains, or excuse me, two pump stations or whatever at a low point. But I don't know.
Depending on the flow, you may actually have to put two parallel force mains to keep the required minimum velocities. But just have to look at it. That's an engineering thing. You can predict how much flow each one of those low pressure units will put out.
What's the pressure limit that lets you call it low pressure? Where's the breakover?
Well, it'll pump against 200 feet, about 100 psi or so.
Okay.
So you're not going to get anywhere near
So
that.
100 psi still considered low
Yeah,
pressure.
It's a grinder, yeah.
Okay.
It's a grinder style pump. It's progressive cavity, a single rotor, stator style pump. And I think, Bobby, y'all got several of them on the shelf down there, don't you?
Yeah.
The way you've got in your sewer policy, a separate section in there for low pressure on how that's handled, from the customer and city standpoint, it's pretty much spelled out. So it's something that's an acceptable means of conveying wastewater according to your policy. To be honest about it, to me, I like it because you don't have to worry about infiltration and inflow. When you've got a leak in the pressure system.
Yeah.
And not necessarily so with the gravity system.
What's the timing on when you want to get it done?
Well, he's needing to give the prospect a commitment that we can make this happen here, I think this week. Supposedly, they're wanting to know. I don't know if he can extend that or not, but that's what they're wanting to do. They've been doing their due diligence. They came down on the site and done their environmental reviews and mapped the site and surveyed it and just to see where everything's at. And this issue with the utilities, part of their due diligence, they got an engineering firm looking at the site and giving them a report on the issues that it takes to develop the site. So.
Roger, this 8-inch main, are you saying you're going to use that to put another pipe through it?
Yeah, it's a
Okay, I just want
carrier.
to make sure that I understood that correctly. Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's ductile iron. I have to check that. But have you seen it, Bobby?
Yeah, I meant to go look and see where y'all uncovered it.
I'm pretty sure that everything underneath the creek and on both sides, we put ductile iron. Yeah, that was how we used to do.
That's
the
like
river
normally that's how it
crossing.
was.
Yeah,
So then the transition to
PVC when we got above the river crossing, at the top of banks, we go back to PVC. The thought is you wanted to make sure that it was as reliable as it possibly could be. In that force main environment, you're not going to have a lot of pressure on ductile iron. You're typically not going to have much problem with it. So, as long as it's lined. So,
But now the water, are you planning on running the water in the same?
well, so the water would be probably 10-foot minimum offside of the.
Okay. That's what I had heard.
You gotta have separation 10 feet.
Mhm.
So it'd be 10 feet away on the water. We, like I say, if if the creek was down real low, I mean, conceivably you could put it in. Now, there will be, and I talked to Tyler and told him that we'll have to file a permit with the state. They've got a general construction permit for stream construction for utilities, and meaning that they'll issue the permit, but you notify them that you've got that activity. I think there's a public notice requirement that goes with that too. And then on the installation, you just got to comply with the terms of the general permit. So it shouldn't be any problem to do that.
I wasn't sure who could make that call. Is it
We'd
us
have to
or
make that
city or-
recommendation to the council, wouldn't
No,
we?
no.
Okay.
The only issue that you would really worry about here is, that's not an improved right of way anymore down through there. Alabama Street's been basically abandoned. And historically, the only concern that I've seen in the past with the encroachment permits for private facilities, private lines, we've got them from the plants and stuff, is that they would make you post some surety that, there wouldn't be any problem with it. And all that was to make sure it took care of any road damage, that might occur if you had a main break or something like that. But with us coming in where we're going to, you really got a low likelihood of having any damage to the city. I don't think that Alabama Street ever got closed either. I'm not sure. We'd have to look through the records on that. But
Remind me, Alabama Street, is it on the other side, north side of the tracks?
it's on the north side of the track. It's
Before Trimac?
Yeah, Trimac. It's on the west side of Trimac's facility.
Right.
Behind
Between the
Trimac,
fire
between
training
Trimac
center.
and the fire training center.
Didn't Harold Wilson's brother live there or something, one of those houses?
Yeah.
Passed
I
on.
just know that Mo, the garbage man, lived on
Mo did.
Mo Stokes on the other side of the creek. I can remember Mo on the garbage truck. Because he'd always throw some kind of little toy out there for Gene and I, some kind of character.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. He always carried that.
If you go down behind George Booth and drive down that road, it runs out. I drove down there the other day.
Yeah, it's not maintained anymore.
There used to be a bridge.
Yeah, there was, and there's remnants of the bridge.
So you can still see the abutments and stuff.
So is there concern here about infrastructure since it's not getting used or something? Is that what you're?
No, the bridge was abandoned when the highway was improved through there years ago in the
Yeah.
industrial complex. I think the bridge was across the creek because before the highway was improved, you had Old Gilbertsville Highway and then that local street, and you had some houses on the other side.
I'm thinking more about the lines you're talking about connecting to.
Yeah.
So we're
So right now, you've got a force main to the river still over there. It just got replaced.
Okay.
There's fire training center.
But you don't have any water lines in there.
Right.
Your nearest water line is at the intersection of 95 and
Putting a meter in.
Alabama Street.
For the water.
Where George, it comes across towards George Booth and then goes up the side of the road with Destron.
So how long is this line we're talking about? that
Sewer
you're
into that.
asking
How
us
long
to-
is the crossing gonna be?
They have to come this way with the sewer.
About 2
that
feet,
was
something.
water.
Yes,
Hmm?
that's just
Too rough?
about 250.
We might, it depends on if we want to take the line over. Like they were this time.
Yeah. How does this typically work as far as cost? When we recruit new people to tie in, how does that typically work?
You've got an extension policy. on
Okay.
that, for water and sewer extensions. If there were gonna be a public line through there, normally how it would work is the developer would pay for the part of it getting up to where they needed service at, and then there's a reimbursement clause in there for the connections to it. Here, that's the big question. Do we put a public extension in for the sewer? I don't know that it's really needed for the water there, but we were proposing to put a private service line in for the water side of it. But on the, if you're gonna do a public, that's kind of how it is.
Is that the low cost routing for water?
That is,
I mean, that's a question. I don't know.
Right
Crossing
now,
the creek, it is.
that's really only thing that you got available. The other distance up to the George Booth is quite a ways
Okay.
up there.
And then you got two highways to go under and stuff on the other one.
Yeah, that's really just not feasible at
And the
all.
water go across the street. Those two tracks across the street where they get
They,
their water
they
source.
come from two.
From the backside.
So here's why I would tell you I'd be a proponent of putting the private line across there, because I think everybody else can get water up from the other side. But from the city standpoint, you put another water main underneath that creek, it's pretty good liability. In terms for maintenance, we had trouble. That one out there on Old Gilbertsville Highway has been dug up at least once that I know of. Those they can be a problem, where the service line side of it, they run about an SDR 11, a real thick polyethylene pipe underneath there. So that's just a thought. You can always you could run a water main through there, but just thinking about what's the use and do you really need it from an engineering standpoint? I don't personally think you do.
So further development would be on the other side of the floodplain, up on the north side of what is now the Raleigh tracks.
And I can
And
tell
they're
you
probably
that-
going up toward the
Yeah.
George Booth tie-in, that way on water supply.
And I would anticipate pressure to develop that property too as well, at some point in time. There's just not a lot of property left for this type of development, like commercial or like industrial.
So what are we looking for here? What kind of action? Is that
A
ask?
commitment that you would provide service to that point. The question that we have before you, that right now the service isn't available at the property. So the applicant would be proposing to bring the service to your facilities, and then let you set a meter over adjacent to your water main. And then the applicant would be responsible for that part of the service line on back to the facility. I think that's what we're asking.
They want water and sewer, right?
Yeah, the sewer line, we'd make a tie-in with the man.
Mhm.
And so the question for the board is do you want the sewer line, all we need is 2-inch, but do you want to size it to accommodate a future extension up the road?
I think so. Good. I think so. And you're saying the city would pay for the sewer line? Is that what you're saying? If I understand you right?
Well, ideally, we would like to have any help we could get on it, but just you do what you got to do with policy. See what you can do.
Well, it sounds like a good idea to me. We can get a formal answer from George Booth, and certainly get one from Astron Chemical that want to tie in and feed in and check those policies you're referring to and do that. I just don't know more as far as your economic development project. What do you need to move that forward and get an answer? That's kind of my question. What kind of a commitment are you looking for?
From you all?
Yeah. What do you need to answer the questions you have on the property?
What, Gene?
What kind of answers do you need?
I think we would love to hear go forward. Yes, you can tie in. We was not planning on making just the larger sewer line. We just wanted to use the abandoned 8-inch pipe
Right.
for a conduit.
Well, I think it's a great dialogue, and to me, with just speaking out possibly out of turn, I think to develop we're going to use that creek crossings. How big a line would go in that thing, and take a look at we can have an engineering bunch work up the difference and see what that would be. It's hard to make a commitment without knowing the price tag, right?
Yeah, we was going to fund all that at that time. We just need, the next step is to find out how much it's gonna cost, but we gotta find out if you are willing to let us do that first before we get the cost. So if
Yeah, I mean, that's the number one
we put a
question for the board. If the fact that, would you allow them to come to your facilities? Yeah,
Yeah, heck yeah.
yeah, okay, so
We want the
that's
business,
number.
and if
We want
if it
the
works out
business.
economically feasible, can anybody think of a reason why we wouldn't want to try to facilitate extending
No,
the sewer line
As
up
long as
there?
I get
The
industrial
only-
stuff.
Facilitating new
Well, that's the
business.
main thing.
The only reason,
We
is
can
like
guard
I
against that.
mentioned, is some people would be concerned and about putting a private utility within the right of way. But my point is, there's nothing there anymore. It's been abandoned. You guys aren't doing anything with it anymore, so there's really no risk from our standpoint, They'll
Say it again,
they'll
a
have-
private utility. What's your point?
We're gonna put a private water line
Okay.
in through the right of way to connect to
To
a
a
meter
public
set
area.
adjacent to your meter. Now, your encroachment permit will require them to be responsible for any problems that might occur with that private water line, I'm sure. Depending on how the sewer's done, if that's done private, you would do the same thing with the sewer line. But if you do it public, what they would do is normally partner and build the sewer line and dedicate it over. So, and what we done, the way that's done in the past, historically, it was a cost sharing deal. They only need to run a 2-inch line. If you run a bigger line, the city would normally pick that up.
Pick the difference up.
So if there's problems with this private line, if you sell it, is that gonna be a part of that contract that they understand that
Yes.
role?
Well, it's part of the encroachment permit on
Okay.
file.
Okay.
And they just have to
I don't know the
understand.
stuff. Yeah.
Probably needs to be a deed covenant.
So if you're gonna run a sewer line and try to pick up those other operations, then it needs to be a bigger line than the 2-inch line, right?
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
So we would pick
What would
up the
be-
extra cost.
If that's an 8-inch line under there, what would go under there?
Well,
Probably
you
a
think maybe a 6, but,
6.
high density polyethylene, they're sold in 1-inch increments. My guess is a 4 would be big, plenty big. But when you look at an Estron Chemical, all he's got over there is.
We have a field tile.
Yeah,
Our
shower,
newest building segregates the industrial waste from the sanitary waste, and we've actually got a grinder pump that goes back. So we are separated.
And it's just what, 4 or 5 showers and a couple of commodes and cross
Oh, yeah,
plant.
yeah,
And I mean, you're not talking about maybe a 10-gallon a minute peak flow out of there. And then George Booth would be almost.
And then for just
Whatever the little pump will pump.
Estron used boiler feed water for steam. Don't use any other water, but the whatever the setup is for that property would come with details of what's allowed, what's not allowed. It'd have to include a flow meter. That'd be a little bit unusual. So our whatever went to our permitted septic tank currently would be flow metered into and billed to the sewer flow. And then it'd have to stipulate the details and make sure that it wasn't tied in some way that it would create a problem. And there is concern on that. I mean, you are going into an industrial complex, make sure we'd have to find some examples. Before that, this isn't their deal. This would be the factors that make, and there's a few hundred yards to get down to where you guys are on the restaurant. And there's another crossing that'll have to take place. I'm not quite sure what the engineering cost of tying Estron in or even George Booth's interest. George Booth's got a handful of 3 or 4 people work there. They've got they've got a little septic system of some sort, but Riley's got a tract in there too that is kind of similar to theirs. You got a permit out to the floodplain, and Riley will be able to come down from the north side and do the same thing. There's tracks for them to develop. So the engineering costs, and we said we're going to do 4-inch to get 4-inch across that next low spot, and then how you design how the pump systems tie in together and all that. So that's not incredibly complex, but it just has to be figured out what the costs are.
It's not terribly expensive either, but I mean, there is a cost to it,
But,
I'm gonna throw a number out there, probably $18 to $20 a foot, something like that. And then the directional drill or underneath the river, the part to get underneath the river coming in and out of it's gonna be higher than that, but just a common open cut trench for that size pipe. I mean, it's relatively cheap, so it doesn't have any appurtenances with it, it's just pipe, no valves, no hydrants, no anything like that.
I'm just thinking that we need to probably check a right of way to make sure that Arkansas, I mean, it didn't pass anywhere. When you did your deed work on the property purchase, did y'all?
No, see, one thing about that, his property is the only one gonna be affected other than the city's property. So it
Right.
goes from the center of the creek
I
and,
think what he's asking is the Alabama Street get closed?
oh, we did not do the diligence.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
But
I mean, you did a
think it was
survey when you
closed
purchased it.
because of
I remember,
it said, there's a note or a sign there that says, no city, state closed or something, the road is, because they closed that bridge.
There may be an end of maintenance sign
That's what
there
their
too.
sign is, in the maintenance.
In the
I
maintenance.
don't know that it's, I mean, I looked at their deed when we did the floodplain field permit, and I think it's still acknowledged. as
I don't think it's closed. I don't think it's an open road, but I think the public right of way there, which means the city could issue an encroachment permit and do that. And there's other landowners on other tracts, and so if you had to have that road closed, you would have had to have a public hearing on it, and it would have had to been done properly.
So that's what we know.
What do you guys think about it? What does the utility board think about it?
I think we're.
It's all about,
There's a way to
I'm
for
do it.
development, just
Yeah.
want to make sure we don't make the system vulnerable anyway, or we put ourselves in, a situation where, so if you're good with that, Paul, you're the expert, as far as I'm concerned, Bobby. And Roger, you've got the background here. If, as long as it, doesn't endanger anything we have going or make us vulnerable.
But it's not a precedent. You have this around
Yeah.
town.
And I mean, like I say, you've already got lines underneath the creek. That would be
We've done
the,
this before in Calvert City.
Yeah.
So,
and we want development, so I'm good with it.
So we're gonna let the minutes read that we're in agreement as a board
Agreement
to,
proceed forward. Yeah,
proceed
so we get our
forward with-
costs lined out, yeah. And we need to decide on that line, which will probably mean conversations with these other property owners. And if they want it, they need to sign something saying they'll hook to it. We run it over there.
is that what you need, guys?
Yeah, timely factor might be something to be involved. I think they're wanting that over by sometime in September. So we was not really thinking more sewer lines hooked onto it. We just thought, well, if we could,
That's why we didn't mind running it ourselves.
yeah, the 2-inch water line, 2-inch sewer line. So
Are they doing it or are you guys doing it?
we are.
So that would be done before the sale?
Uh,
I mean,
part of the
Yeah.
sale.
tell me
I
what
think.
you feel comfortable, Tom. I don't know what you're doing, but
Yeah, I think it'd be part of. But it sounds like we've got permission to do it. It's just what I wasn't clear of is, can we use the 8-inch pipe to put a 2-inch line in, or do we need somebody else to be?
we got to get to make sure we can issue a private encroachment to the public way, and then that would be clearance to do what you're saying to do.
When
And that
you-
would, we'll just ask Ashley to look at it real quick and make sure we have that and see if we can get them all.
You can do that administratively.
Yeah.
That doesn't require council approval. does it?
Yeah, no,
Right.
only time.
Okay, that's what we.
So we can do that. And I say that ignorant. I've never done one, so I do need to double check it, make sure it doesn't take a
I'm pretty
cancel
sure
action.
John's done that before.
Yeah. So I think that's possible, and then that would give you a green light. And then the next thing is putting together some cost estimates and deciding in that time frame what the project cost would be to go to the larger size versus what they're saying. It's
I can do that for them, and I'll have it to you within a week.
Okay.
well, given that, maybe we need to do a special call of this body and look at the cost.
Okay.
If we can get that something hammered out in 2 or 3 weeks. But you said when we started this conversation, you had stuff going on, due diligence now, and you needed an answer inside of a week on this thing.
Yeah, but that being said, they wanted to know if they'd be able to get water and sewer on this site
Mhm.
this week. And I do apologize. They
Yeah.
told me that 2 weeks ago, but I knew this meeting was today, and I was I mean, I know it's
Yeah.
time crunch, but that's what they asked.
You think, based on.
Feasibility wise, that hinges on, that is indeed part of Calvert City's property, the old right of way. And we need to double check that. There's a little bit of administrative work we gotta be sure, we need to be positive on that. I mean, I'm pretty darn positive, but that's different than asking to make sure that we are. And then
Check that out tomorrow, you think?
I can ask Ashley to take a look at it.
I'll make sure it's not
If
state.
you send a letter, if we send a letter out tomorrow based on.
She's still there.
I'm here.
Okay.
You there?
Yes,
Let's
I
take
can.
notes and-
I can check on it tomorrow.
Okay.
It's not a problem.
We can look at next week, pull the policy on, the previous times when we've done this and come up with some kind of answer on the feasibility using that pathway. We should be able to get an answer to that next week. And then if we were going to say, hey, there's an opportunity for something more, that's going to be a little bit longer, maybe. Come up with that.
Extend your deadline for a week or so.
I can talk, I mean, I'm gonna have to talk to them tomorrow.
Talk to them and tell them we need me to write a letter to them or whatever, and then we can get a copy of the board minutes and send it to them,
Yeah.
But y'all are all about, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Mhm. Yeah.
I think we're.
I'm hearing yes from this board, if there is the right of way, that it hadn't been closed inadvertently, that allowing it to extend water and sewer to this site, we're in favor of, right?
Right.
Right.
And then there's an opportunity. There's an opportunity for further development that I'm also hearing positives in, but you really can't answer that without knowing a dollar sign.
Right.
And that's a little harder squeeze.
But I think if we're gonna use that pipe as a cover pipe to go through, then it's crucial we put the right pipe.
Right.
And not trying to go back there after you've got another pipe in there.
Need to put a 4-inch through there
Yeah.
at least,
At least, yeah.
or better. Or whatever.
HDP is pretty awesome stuff. You mess with any of it, you've
And
seen
it's the
it or done it.
cheapest thing we're talking about doing, so. Okay.
You see, man?
No, I do appreciate your time and thank you for agreeing.
I appreciate the work you guys did. I knew it took some digging, or not literally, well, probably literally too, but to find that line and learn the history of it and know the history of it and develop
We've been
it.
I got pictures of it, but we've covered it back up, but I've got it marked in the direction where it is. And again, it is a abandoned, broken line, so.
Mark, what do you got in Mark with over at Mark? I like
Just
the
right
look.
now, paint marker and then of course pictures.
Okay.
I could show you where it is, how deep it is. One side of it's 5 foot, one other in the creek is 4 foot deep.
Okay.
So, and then I got it marked from a tree where it is. I mean, we could find it instantly.
I might call you here.
Yeah.
Come look at it sometime, because I meant to go look anyway.
Yeah.
All right.
Anything?
You guys good?
Yeah, I think so.
Appreciate your time.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we working on running it to a manhole and a meter. And then from there on, they take it and go with it.
So we'll have water meter going out.
Yep.
And they'll have sewer service coming back.
Yep.
So they'll be a sewer provided customer with regular routine billing.
Mhm.
And my observation on Estron Chemical, it'd have to be a meter on the sewer flow, which is somewhat unusual. We got a lot of examples of that, but
Right.
we send the largest portion of our purchase to the boiler.
Well, we gotta expand our sewer if we get a chance to
Yeah.
expand it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Especially if you get it on a 1-inch or or a larger water line. So
I mean,
that rate goes up just like it does with water service.
if you got a chance to
Yeah,
get,
you
you know, places back there.
Yeah.
They actually do
Yeah, if
something.
you're gonna go through that pipe, you need to do it right when you do it the first time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't
And-
wanna send it to,
It's
and be
not-
like, oh crap, I should have sent it forward.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
I don't know how long Boost sewer septic tank's been there, but I had one to fail. So that's the reason I tied on. at my office.
Yeah, I
So
wish we'd run it by your side.
yeah, so it was already out there, so it was good.
Yeah.
Good to have. All right, let's move along. On the remaining cleaner water grant funds at Little Rock, Atlanta, we're having the got a problem.
Ashley, I think we hear you.
Okay. I can remute.
Okay.
So just-
We
that's 820 yards to get on up the restaurant. That's a long way.
Oh, to Estron.
Restaurant. 820 yards.
So you're talking about you would consider using city sewer instead of using your own private septic system or something?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That'd be something that I say that without knowing the cost, but yeah, that'd be something we'd be interested in.
Yeah.
And it's a reason for concern. You gotta do those agreements and make it airtight and make sure. Probably be out hunting for problems.
Yeah. We don't need to get Bobby.
You need
in
something
trouble.
to do.
Hunting's a good night.
Yeah, I was gonna say, come fast and furious some days.
Let me restate that. If you experience the problem, you may be looking for the source.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Restate what I said.
On the water grant funds, Little Rock and Atlanta, Chad has done the work on getting that laid out. And according to the report that I had, I think Gene was one that told me that there's been a lot of activity out there wanting water,
Well,
tie on, and possibly and further down the line than where we
Yeah.
plan to stop. So,
I mean, I don't know in great detail of how far it's been projected we can get without exceeding grant funds.
Yeah, I know, we don't know.
Okay, so but the last three owners down to the cul-de-sac believe it's at a certain spot.
Yeah.
And the last one on the end has approached me and said, "Hey, we're interested in doing that this time." So I don't know how we cipher that all out and get to the decision point.
well, my thought had been that we just run it as far as we can run it, and then we see what the cost is to run it,
That was
to run it the rest of the way down. And
They went ahead and engineered that last little part for free. And they just went ahead and did it. So if we had enough money for that extension, we would already have everything, good to go. We won't know until we get the rest of it done first, the initial part.
Well, I guess one of the, and I don't. Once the job's going in and they're out there mobilized, the cost to add the extra is one cost. If they stop and say, "Here's the bills, we cleaned it all up," and then we're gonna go back out and finish up the rest of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then it's a lot cheaper to do it when they're on site digging.
You don't have to incur that extra
That's
mobilization.
right.
so once we get the
I told you how much
numbers,
it
we can-
costs extra to do that, right?
Right. 50.
50,000 extra.
Okay. Is it that much? Ooh.
To do that, it's 700, 800 feet.
So it's already been estimated.
And these are the numbers.
So that's something we would have to pay for to extend it, right?
Well, and that's what I'm saying, we don't know how much funds would be left,
Okay.
but that's what it would cost to do that extra piece.
So that's the estimate.
Okay. I thought we had about $100,000 on that. on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that far. We did talk about it. That's right. Because the thing is that that you got to decide, and you got an extra $50,000, which is not funded by the grant. How long having 3 households out there that did tie on, assuming they tie on,
Well, how much,
and then how much?
how many
extra
lots does it pass that could have a house on?
That's part of it too. It's
That's-
800 foot.
That's right.
50 foot.
So right now, the landowners, when you talk to them, they say, "Well, there's not likely."
2 would be on.
But you're saying we could have somebody build down there and
Yeah,
We're
I mean,
ready.
that's the whole thing. If you've got it there, it's kind of crazy to dig a well when the water's running across your property and you have access to it. You never know, you can get a well collapse on you. I mean, it's just a lot of problems.
Yeah, where's it? Okay, where's it?
But we're not talking sewer here, we're just talking
They're
water.
talking water. I wish we were talking both.
Is it on
But
Little
we got
Rock?
it. That
Is that
sewer,
Will it
we
be
got to
easy?
get some more customers.
Right here. Here we are. There's Little Rock right here. And Atlanta comes up right here. Okay?
Mhm.
This is that extra piece right here. We would end right here. But this guy right here,
Mhm.
this guy is the one that's got the really good well, and he's not that dark. But it's these other ones, these two, I know for sure. Actually, all these probably. I know two right here at least.
Well, this is the guy that's asking me.
Okay, and that's this guy is on Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're set to get them either.
Already.
Yeah, because this is Atlanta. Atlanta we got
Okay.
all the way up Atlanta. We got all this.
Okay.
This is all in.
Right.
This is the extra piece.
Wish we sophisticated enough to throw it up on that screen.
It could be. It could do it.
Alabama, where are we now?
Here.
Atlanta.
No, we're
and,
I can
Here, are we on Lone Valley?
yes.
Yeah.
Off of Long Valley.
So I'm using.
Yeah, I got it. Little Rock. Little
That's
Rock.
that's the mayor resources there. That
Here's
little
Little
program
Rock.
costs
Where
me
did-
$30 a
And
month.
Long
Yeah.
Valley comes.
Where's
down.
this grant money stop?
Little Rock's right here.
You use it a lot.
So we're coming off
We're coming off
here.
We're coming off here.
Yeah,
Right here
you'd
Long
have to
Valley.
cancel
We're coming down to
Your
Little Rock.
subscription in
All
nowhere.
the way down to where Atlanta is. We go up Atlanta, up this way. All the way up Atlanta.
And so that we would complete the loop there.
No, that's not a loop. No.
Okay, okay,
This is what this is our initial plan.
okay,
This is the extra
okay,
right here,
okay.
going all the way to here. And this house was planning
And
on
so
all that.
there's no houses up to
Nope.
here, but that's all open land, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. I think
Well,
we're
we may
gonna-
need to talk to the judge. See if he'd be willing to throw in.
Yeah, I mean, if that's open
25,
land, you got a water
30,000.
line coming through there. Double your chances of getting investment
That's
in it.
great.
So the extras here. Where's the 50?
Yeah,
Over here.
yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, see, yeah, the initial plan was come here,
Mhm.
up here.
Okay.
This is the extra,
Okay.
right all the way to there.
Okay.
Because this guy right here, the one.
Have we
at
had
the top of the hill,
inquiries from those guys?
These two, yeah,
Okay.
all these.
On the, and inquiries on the extra part, right?
Yes, that's the increase.
Is the extra part on Atlanta, you're saying?
No, the extra part is the other part of Little Rock.
Got it. Okay, I
Because
see it.
our plan is to go Little Rock to Atlanta, up Atlanta.
I got you.
If we go back for a minute to this industrial thing, do we have a hydrant out there anywhere?
Out
And
on
then
their
what these-
side,
No, on the industrial guy, the other, not this one here.
Yeah,
Is there a hydrant out there?
we're not gonna get a hydrant that way either.
Okay,
So the water supply he's talking about is just gonna be the supply to the singular property with a meter behind Trimac.
okay.
yes. And that's going to be their sole line that they're taking.
The Trimac.
Right,
Is it
right.
Trimac?
Right.
Okay.
Termite, yeah.
So he's gonna run a singular property.
But is there a
service line.
meter out there
No.
anywhere?
There'll be.
I mean, a water,
There's a water main right
yeah,
there.
well, I mean, a fire hydrant, that's what I'm,
No.
Yes, there's a
Okay.
fire hydrant at the corner of C Avenue.
okay, okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah,
Well, there's fire hydrants in the fire training center.
yes.
There's one at the C Avenue, but when you get on across the creek over this property, I don't know where the nearest hydrant is there.
Well, there ain't no water.
No water over there all the way down to
Highway
your house.
95, where's the nearest hydrant?
The next one up would be right before you,
Okay.
right there by George Booth.
And-
And out there by Air Products. and
So when you
Farm.
come out of, what's that road called now?
Are
North
they
Alabama.
are they gonna have any need of a sprinkler system out there for any reason? Do we know?
Probably not, from what I know.
Okay.
So what they proposed to us was not substantial enough for any sort of sprinkler. It was,
It's just
we didn't
water.
talk meter size.
It's at 1 inch.
Yeah, it's
Did they?
at 1 inch,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
1
so
inch.
that's not, That's not anything like that. And that service line that gets across the creek, the supply service side is not anywhere near what we take. I don't know that we could get, if somebody wanted to buy a George Booth property and put sprinklers in there and do a flow test, they could probably get it there. And then, if you went south from there, it'd be,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
it'd be hard to do. So that gets into some of the improvements, the capital improvements that we had estimated for that one project that never came to fruition.
Mhm.
That was coming out the back of the water plant over to 95 and going up that way. And that was a pretty big line, and that would have developed that. But right now, unless something big moves in, you're coming off there by Calvert Lumber where it ties in. Is that still 282 there?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And at that intersection, the water main makes a corner, bops out. So any sprinkler flow would have to come down from that corner right in front of George Booth. And we could probably find it. I didn't know the water run. Anyway,
Okay. Okay.
I don't have my computer fired up to look at it. That's a great question, by the way. Good thinking.
What is Georgie Booth? What is
It's
that
an
company?
equipment sales company.
Okay.
They
see where
sell
they are.
instrumentation. They do some industrial stuff there. As
Okay.
far as assemblies go, but they process industrial sales.
Right.
Rick Wilson is the site manager. I don't know if he owns property in Instagram or what, but
So on this Atlanta we're gonna put in fire hydrants there, right?
Okay.
we probably still need some fire hydrants up in that area since we got that loop back. I don't know, we put them on the actual line. Some of the existing infrastructure, since we're talking about fire hydrants, I know we're wandering all over the
Let's
place.
save them insurance.
Some of that existing infrastructure is actually in Giversville Fire District.
Mhm.
And with the tie-in back on the circle, there is some potential that there could be some hydrant improvements in there. And we really haven't picked that up. And we extended all along the water line extension, the hydrants are put in as per normal. But there may be some of the older sections that need to be evaluated for hydrant replacement.
Grand Oaks and all that you're talking about?
Yeah.
That could probably be out there.
So
Also keeps the pressure up is what I heard somebody say.
what the loop does,
By putting our water lines out there, give them more fire pressure for fighting fires.
yes,
There on the
yes,
hill.
that loop gives that old Grand Oaks instead of that single one coming up the hill gives them more. And that's why I'm saying you can consider more hydrants if you got more flow.
Yeah, okay.
Already it helps a lot.
So their property that they own is just past the creek, north of the creek, but before George Booth, along the highway?
It's
They own the first track from like when you cross the bridge heading north.
Okay.
At that creek corner, you can see I drive by it several times a day. But you go down to the next section, and then there's a section in there that Raleigh Electric owns,
Okay.
and then it comes out there, and I don't know, they've sold tracks of that may not be recorded on my little device or whatever, but it comes out in George Booth. So there's extra tracks in there, and then their development of that is facing the same issue on floodplain as they're facing.
Yes.
So there's a section in there that you're probably not going to see any development, and that's that same draw that comes up behind the water plant.
That creek.
Yeah, so you're not going to be able to develop in that. I don't know. I'm going to use wrong vocabulary here. The floodway, but it's you're not going to be able to develop in there. But if you get the permit and you get the LOMA, then you can go up and do what you need to. But it has to be cleared through the floodplain management permitting process.
Sure. I remember our last flood that, in the
Well, they have done a lot of work on their lot they're working on, and they've had equipment in there now for a long time, putting in dirt and fill and bringing it up to above floodplain. So
Ashley, you familiar with the segment of road we're talking about?
I had to find my unmute button. No, I'm not, but
Well, we'll look into it tomorrow and make sure you know.
okay. I appreciate that.
that's the only thing I've got on project status updates. I don't know anything else that we've got right now. Everything else is still in the works relative to what was going on up by the Dairy Queen and Mega Mills and up there. Don't know any more there. Rate study, Glenda's been tied up with the new system, but she did find some work on meters. You were able to come up with
Right.
some information for it that we
Yeah,
had.
Allison
Got it.
found me a report where I could pull 2-inch meters, 3-inch, 4-inch. So I have a list, and then I went in and pulled a 2-year history on each one of those customers. So I do have all of that pulled and saved.
Nice.
So that's an accomplishment.
So when we're talking about discussing the meter rates or the water rates for larger meters and different strategies, we get that lined out, then we'll be able to roll it all up and see what it would mean
Mhm.
from a forecasting standpoint and also from an impact point. How did it affect the customers, these changes in policies? So that's
One of the big things is we need that capital improvement plan. In other words, at our current rate, we want to do this, that's $1 million
Mhm.
over 3 years that we're going to need.
the
extra.
basis for the rate study is based on the budget,
Right.
the maintenance expenses that we currently
Yeah.
plan to
Except
have.
we're still making money. We're still adding money. We're doing better than, it's hard to sell that if you don't have a place you're going to put that money to raise rates just to be raising. You following me? Because the truth is our system is financially solvent.
Right.
We're not going in the hole. We're not behind on payments. So if we get extra money, then why do we want extra money?
Well, I lost you on your basis. So the rate talked about the rate of depreciation and the rate of what we look at, how fast we want to pay the debt back, which is a finite need. And so
If that creates an issue to where we need this extra money to meet our debt obligations, then you've got a selling point for it.
Mhm.
So you're not just raising rates because you decide you just want to raise them. You're raising them because we're not generating enough income to pay out the debt service. And that's what I keep asking for. Then how much are we short?
right.
If we don't know how much we need, how do we know how to set the rate? I mean, I must may be so dumb, I can't figure it out.
No, but you're right on top of it.
Yeah.
But the rate study is supposed to give us that information. The basis that you're talking about is the basis we're talking about seeing, and the recommendation was a rate increase that we didn't believe was necessary. So we're gonna slice up the assumptions that were made in that rate study
Right,
about the amount of rate payback on loans
right,
and the depreciation built up, whether we include it or not.
right.
So they're laid out there for us in black and white in that rate study. And there were some questions that I think we've got cleared up now. So the next question
Because we
is,
had one loan in there that's actually paid, right? Okay. So then we just need to know where we come down with that. You see what I'm saying?
Right. so where I'm at
Okay.
is we have had a rate increase because of our standard ordinance.
Mhm.
So it's already got that.
Right.
So look at where we're standing, look at the rate assumptions and make sure they're right and decide how much it is that we need to generate to make the utility overall be at least black and white versus what we intend to do on depreciation, what we intend to do on loan payback. Now, right now, we're making it because the city owns assets and the city is doing a really good job. And so we've got Big Brother to rely on, and our reserve is building too.
Right.
And I want to be clear on this. We've got the water plant standing tall, so
Right.
to speak. It is
Yeah.
operating in the way it was designed way back probably 20
Right.
years from before. So the plant's
Right.
there. We've got our waste treatment lagoons completely refurbed. We've got our feeding to waste treatment completely refurbed. And we're going to run into maintenance items and extraordinary maintenance items. The rebuilding of a pump station is a sewer pumping station is a big expense.
Yeah.
But the just regular care and feeding is reflective in our history of our budget and our actual performance against budget. So we know what our normal dogs and ponies and cats are for maintaining our system, and we've got history on that quite a ways back. So that was built into the rate study. So the assumptions for maintenance and adding capital, we've been adding a lot of stuff because we've been able to access a lot of grants.
Right.
And we've been taking, and we will continue to do so.
Right.
And as money flows to the pad, we'll continue to do that. But when you're trying to figure out the logistics of what we need to do, we got this data together, and we had talked about making up some ground instead of just putting a huge debt on sewer only. So we just need to figure out how big a slice we want to do, okay, and then figure out how to distribute it against those numbers. And I think I hear you talking. I think what we need to do is go through and figure out how much we'd like to improve our position and what makes sense. I think what was presented was probably the worst case scenario. The best case scenario. If you really wanted to be on top of everything and you wanted to be 100, this was the mark we had, and we all go, wow, that's a lot. Do we really need to be there? I think that's your point.
Right.
We don't have to achieve that goal.
Right. And we're paying the city back, right?
Very little, but we're paying them back.
Okay. So, and we're starting to make payments on
And that's still city that's
that
not
lift
hurting
station,
for that.
which
money.
now it's not going to just be the interest, but it's going to be the principal. So that's what I'm getting at. That ought to be a good, clear figure that you can delineate.
Well,
And I think it will serve us well before it hits the council that we get to that point.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there's a lot of
so the
support there.
the eye-popping part of it was that you took the loans from the city
Mhm.
and aggressively paid them back.
Right.
Was it 7 years? Was it 5?
I don't remember.
Anyway,
It was.
it was quick.
Yes, it was very
led
Was
to-
that in his rate study?
Yeah.
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 He
Oh,
wanted, yeah.
This is
Yeah.
both.
He wanted us to get out of those loans.
So the assumptions were we were a standalone utility, and you wanted to be running it, and you had a commercial lenders that expected that debt to be serviced at a certain rate. That led to the eye-popping adjustments.
Gotcha.
So we're not doing that, but we do need to be where we are servicing that debt a reasonable amount, and we are now. But we've had a lot of improvements.
We
And
have.
there's been some extraordinary expenses.
Yeah, we
Nobody's
spent a
got
lot
the
of money.
crystal ball, and we've got to the capital plan.
Yeah.
We've already got identified some extraordinary opportunities. So what does it take to seize them? We had a very extraordinary potential that evaporated on us.
Yeah.
We spent a bit of engineering dollars, and it was. You remember what the top end on that project potential was? Where we going to scrape up? Was it like $3 million?
I
Yeah.
think it
Water line
was.
extension.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think
Yeah.
you're right.
We were looking at a distribution line extension. We have the wells, we had the treatment, we had a demand. We were looking at a distribution improvement, and it was a $3 million project for lines.
Right.
And it fell in line. We had the engineering studies done, and it was part of a much larger proposal for an economic development thing.
Right.
And it's like, oh wow, how are we going to do this? So that's why we want to make sure that we've got everything done. So when we have an opportunity like that, we're not.
Yeah.
We want to be able to capitalize on it. And the
Right.
city owns the utility. The city owns the utility, and the city wants economic development. So there's a lot of different ways to slice that pie.
Let me ask about the accounting side of this, the depreciation to me. Tell me if I'm right or wrong on this. What we pay for the expense of depreciation in a sense is a reflection of our capital projects. If something's depreciating, part of your capital project is maintaining
Right.
or recreating a water plant somewhere else. All that kind of stuff plays in together. So I'm with you that we need to definitely define some of these projects on that. But if the rate increase has to be tied to depreciation too, to take care of what we have plus what we need, so to me, that would be some of the tools that you have to use to justify some of this. But I'm with you. I think we need to really clearly define some capital projects.
Yeah.
And the theme for me behind it is capacity, just like we were talking
Well,
about here.
depreciation is taking care of putting aside money for the capital projects you didn't see coming.
Is that how you see it?
It's a-
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
No, it is. It is. The water line replacement under Cypress Creek during the flood that was done with a huge drill under Cypress Creek. Prime example. Old water line sitting there, and that project, You remember right off the top of your head what the total on that one was? 80? There's an $80,000 project that nobody saw coming,
Yes.
and
but
so that
you-
comes right out of
if-
the operating budget
So that depreciation expense is kind of there to address.
to
And
address
to
aging
replace it.
infrastructure.
You're wearing everything is wearing out.
Everything's
And if
getting
you don't
older.
depreciate, when it
Right.
is wore out, you haven't covered your base to replace it. So I mean, I propose.
So we are publicly
Appreciation.
owned. And so the depreciation thing, it kind of enters into the pure form of that. How much are you wanting to make sure your reserves can handle? And we are willing to run skinny.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of your point. We have the luxury
Yes.
of running a bit skinny, but nobody wants us to run too skinny
No.
and have something kick loose and this just be totally upside down
Right.
and being able to afford that thing. So we've got to, and that's what this board's all about, is this conversation.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is.
And it's not stressful. It's just, we got to answer that up and
Yep.
make a good
Well, it is for
recommendation.
Bobby, but
At the college, we had a big thing called institutional effectiveness. And if you didn't clear that hurdle, they would cancel all of your accreditations. And if you lose your accreditation, you lose all federal funding. So we had a lady on that, and she had this saying, this is what she said. She said, "In God I trust, everybody else bring me facts." And that's kind of what I'm saying here is we know generally to speak that, but we got to do the math. You know, we've got to do the math. I know I was teaching a lesson the other day, and I was trying to work off of a prophecy that was BC prophecy. Then it was fulfilled in AD, and I was had this class, and I was trying to say, well, we got to subtract this on this side and add it on this side. I never did get them to understand that 300 AD or 444 AD till you get to zero, you got to subtract the amount of years that you're talking about.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so it's kind of like that's the whole deal is you got to do the math.
Well, we got to do the math and figure out the basis of where we are and where we want to be.
Yeah.
Because I look at the rate studies where we would dream to be, and we were running a commercial enterprise, which we are not.
Mhm.
So we've got to show the council a lot of where we need to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where we need to be.
And Calvert City's never been better than it is tonight, man.
We need to, and that's
And
one of the
I'm
things we
very
need
proud.
to do over the next few weeks and months and years is to get a 5-year plan. put
Oh, yeah,
together.
we should
Yeah.
have one.
Yeah.
We've gotta
But
get
it doesn't
one
get
put
in the
together.
way of making these decisions, I don't think.
No, but it not.
And we can run some scenarios. I know they're cleaning up property out on Ford Square, so I would assume you don't spend money cleaning property that you're not going to do something with.
Right. And that's one of the things that we talked about here several times.
And
Less the interest rates, it's how you can afford to borrow the money
It looks a lot nicer, doesn't it?
It looks a lot nicer, and yeah, so we want to see all of that.
So, things is moving. We've got the data. We're gonna pull it apart, and
And thank you, Glenda. You've nailed that down, so we can take a % increase, and it'll give us a real figure to talk about.
well, the desire to look at those size meters, those were the ones that we had questions on. Was it the minimum flow for this cost, and then the incremental use of water was where we needed to be. And now we're going to get the data and we can run through scenarios and see what that works. So there was this huge eye-popping amount that the rate study was based on this huge increase, and we need to pick out the slice that we're wanting to do and look at the water side and see what we can do to fill what we recommend. And it's all about advising the council on where we know where we're comfortable, but where should we really be? And it's not the eye-popping number.
Right.
Where is it that we need to go? And the rearward looking at the amount of depreciation and the maintenance costs has value because that is the system.
And our debt reduction schedule, that's a very important part
It
of
is.
that.
Right.
And I think we don't want to drag out. I mean, the city gives us a safety net, and I don't think we should drag out repaying the city in order to have availability of that should we need it again. So I'm all for that. But it's all math. And at the end, we should be able to justify that.
All right. Kentucky Dam progress, have we got anything on that yet? An agreement or draft of an agreement or anything?
Well, I think we need to do an action.
Ashley, you got anything on the Kentucky Dam agreement yet or anything?
Well, so when we went to that meeting, my understanding was that they were doing a memorandum of agreement. And I think his last name was Wentz, was the guy that said that he would be the one that, I would either need to send our, bullet points to, or that he's the guy that kind of talks to their attorneys on their end. But if you all would rather, if you have a preference of me getting an entire agreement together and sending it to them, we can do it that way.
Yeah,
But that's what I thought from the meeting.
I talked to Chad, and his response was he's needing, I think they're waiting on us for requirements that we need for them to look at. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think we've got a great list. I just didn't know, are we wanting to send that over in a full final form of a full contract? Or my understanding was that we would send over kind of what we were thinking and they would get a memorandum of agreement together.
Well, I think you're right. Yeah, but it was our move, I think, to show them what we need, and then they'll go over it. Is what I think Chad was telling me.
Just set up a meeting with Chad early next week. Phone
We can
conference.
do that.
We'll
He
do
just
that.
had his appendix out, so he's out for a little bit.
Oh, no. I wasn't aware. Wasn't aware. He suffered before he found out it was a problem.
I don't know. I ain't talked to he's sitting there. A picture of him in the hospital.
Okay.
But
Understood.
he's fine. I talked to him. Actually.
Did you say it's an appendix?
Yeah.
If it went well, it shouldn't be
Yeah,
that
he's
much
fine.
problem.
He's
It ought to be.
But
Okay. All right, we'll see if we can get together with Chad and see what we need to do, get that
And if we
going.
need a special call meeting on this other, just let us know.
Maybe they'll tell me what they need, and I can write them a letter for the mayor, and maybe
Yeah.
that'll help them out.
I mean, we're all willing, but just,
I mean,
We
we're
just
gonna
need to kinda
we're
know
gonna
what
explain
we
to
will.
Ashley. She's gonna
Yeah, we
look
gotta
and
know
make sure we got the
what we got.
right.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think we've got a pretty comprehensive list, but let's make sure.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, thank you. Bill, you got anything else? You good?
Well, just a reminder of past history on capital projects. With Roger, when he was here, he would sit down and he would run through all the projects that are possibilities on the water side with a little group of us. And then we met with him informally on the sewer side, the projects, and then came back here and hashed out, these are the ones we're going to do, stuff of that nature. So we've got some kind of list now, don't we? I mean, we looked at it last year.
It's pretty well burned up as far as
Awesome.
everything.
Yeah, we're there, huh? So
Yeah.
I mean, you see how skinny this guy is. We wore him out.
That's what I'm saying. We need to get back into that
So,
groove. And
my question to you, I'll bring all this up, is how do you want to go about that? Putting that together, is that something the council needs to do? Is it something informally
it's-
needs to
No,
be
we
done?
We feed it
Counts,
up.
it's
We do.
something we do. Yeah, we will
feed it
do
up.
it here.
And do we do it during these meetings or do it informally and then bring it to these meetings? You know, those kind of things are my questions. So think about it and just whatever you want to do, but I'm willing to get to work on this stuff
Yeah.
for sure. If you need help, need input. That's
Yeah.
it. Thank you.
We'll work on that.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Bill,
I'd see.
you good?
Have anything else to say?
Bobby, what about you? You good? Got everything? You worked on the budget some, you said, and
Yeah, me and John went over a few things.
yeah, we need to probably get together and talk about what we want to present, because that's coming up pretty soon, isn't it, Gene?
We should have a schedule about ready to put out as far as timeline. I think John's already got one. I think we've talked about it, but I don't know if it's ever put together and communicated.
He's just been meeting with everybody about, I think, the capital projects.
Yeah.
Or have y'all, is that pretty much what he's been doing? He hasn't, I don't know if he's gotten into the expense part of things yet.
So Mayor,
No,
your
that's
last
kinda what
day
he
is
said.
what,
We did
December
do a lot.
31st or something like that? Is that?
New Year's Eve.
Okay.
New Year's Eve.
Well, I'll say it several more times between now and then, but thank you.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things. It had to, had to take a hard look at everything's been going on. You can't start something you're not willing to finish.
Yes.
It's a 4-year term.
That's true. You got 20 years on your belt. They even let the military retire step back after 20 years. So
Well, it's
it's a long run.
it's like the frog being in a pot of water as you heat it up generally.
Yeah. I understand.
How many
completely.
years will it?
About 20 more or less. River.
That you-
Well-
I don't have a good date on the River Board start because that's kind of some dead reckoning. All the River Board records have been relegated to banker's boxes. in the
River
basement
board.
somewhere.
We had a river board, you're saying?
River, yeah,
Yeah.
Marsh County.
That was
There's
it.
a lot of heavy
Well, the
lifting
court.
that was done. With this is outside the water meeting. We're gonna.
Yeah, make a motion, adjourn.
I make a motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Bye, Ashley.
So, yeah.
Hold on just a second.
It's just
Bye.
easy.
On that capital improvement, that 50,000 to get in there, if we're going to extend that line.